There are cars that transport us, and then there are cars that transform an entire conversation. The Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing belongs unmistakably to the latter category, a machine engineered not merely to compete, but to redefine what an American luxury sedan can be when craftsmanship meets uncompromising performance. In an era when true driver's cars are becoming an endangered species, Cadillac has chosen a bold path, a naturally breathing supercharged V8, available with an honest 6-speed manual gearbox, wrapped in a body that speaks the language of restrained elegance rather than shouted aggression. Approach the CT5-V Blackwing in daylight, and the first impression is one of quiet confidence. At 194.1 inches in length, riding on a 116.0-inch wheelbase, the proportions strike a careful balance, long enough to convey presence, compact enough to retain agility. The carbon fiber front splitter, the subtly sculpted hood vents, and the available carbon fiber rear spoiler are not exercises in vanity. Each element has been shaped in the wind tunnel, contributing to genuine aerodynamic function. Cadillac's design language here is one of geometric precision, vertical LED lighting signatures, crisp character lines, and a fastback-inspired roofline that draws the eye rearward with unhurried grace. Where a Mercedes-Maybach S-Class projects opulence through sheer visual mass, and a Bentley Flying Spur speaks through ornate chrome detailing, the Blackwing's exterior philosophy is one of purposeful restraint, the design of an athlete in a tailored suit rather than a monarch in ceremonial dress. Step inside, and the cabin reveals a story of meaningful evolution. Cadillac has moved decisively away from the parts bin criticism of decades past. The seats, available in a Recaro-sourced or Cadillac-tailored configuration, are wrapped in supple semi-aniline leather, hand-selected for grain consistency, with contrast stitching that traces the seams like calligraphy. Carbon fiber trim spans the dashboard in a satin finish, avoiding the gloss-heavy excess one might find in a lesser sports sedan. The steering wheel, trimmed in leather and Alcantara, features a flat-bottom design and a serif-inspired Blackwing badge, a small detail, but one that speaks to Cadillac's growing confidence in its own identity. Compare this to the Rolls-Royce Ghost, where lambswool carpets and starlight headliners create an atmosphere of almost aristocratic seclusion, and the difference becomes clear. This is not a car built for detachment from the road, but for intimate connection with it. Still, ambient lighting, available heated and ventilated seating, and a curated 15-speaker Bose Pan-Array audio system ensure that comfort has not been sacrificed at the altar of performance. And then, the heart of the matter, the engine. Beneath that sculpted hood lies a 6.2-liter supercharged LT4 V8, hand-assembled at GM's Performance Build Center in Bowling Green, Kentucky, each unit bearing the signature of the technician who built it. This engine produces 668 horsepower and 659 pound-feet of torque, figures that place it firmly in rarefied company. Paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission, the CT5-V Blackwing dispatches 0 to 60 miles per hour in a scarcely believable 3.4 seconds, reaching a top speed of 200 miles per hour. Opt instead for the 6-speed manual, a genuine rarity in this segment, and the Century Sprint arrives in 3.7 seconds, with a top speed of 189 miles per hour, a small sacrifice made in service of a purer, more visceral driving experience. To place these numbers in context, a Mercedes-AMG S63 E-Performance, itself a hybridized tour de force, produces a combined 791 horsepower, yet weighs considerably more and channels its character through effortless, isolated authority, rather than mechanical dialogue. A Bentley Flying Spur speed, with its twin-turbocharged W12, offers 626 horsepower wrapped in nearly 5,300 pounds of opulent mass. The CT5-V Blackwing, by comparison, tips the scales at a comparatively svelte 4,175 pounds, allowing its power-to-weight ratio to translate into a driving experience of remarkable immediacy. This is not a car that insulates its driver from the mechanical symphony beneath. It invites participation. Ride quality, often the defining signature of a true luxury sedan, is where the Blackwing performs its most impressive act of duality. Cadillac's 4th-generation magnetic ride control, sampling road conditions 1,000 times per second, allows the suspension to shift character within milliseconds, supple and composed over broken pavement in tour mode, taut and communicative when track mode is engaged. The electronic limited differential and available carbon ceramic Brembo brakes, measuring 15.7 inches at the front, front bring a level of composure through corners that few four-door sedans, luxury or otherwise, can match. Where a Rolls-Royce Ghost floats above the road on air suspension tuned for near-total isolation, and a Cadillac Escalade-adjacent Maybach glides with limousine-like detachment, the CT5-V Blackwing remains resolutely connected to the asphalt, communicative, alive, and deeply satisfying for those who still believe driving should be an act of engagement rather than mere transportation. Technology, too, plays its quiet supporting role. The 33.3-inch curved OLED display integrates instrumentation, navigation, and infotainment into a single, elegant pane of glass, a marked departure from Cadillac's older, button-heavy philosophies. Super Cruise, the brand's hands-free highway driving assistant, remains among the more sophisticated systems in the industry, using LiDAR map data across a vast network of North American highways. Safety, naturally, has not been overlooked. Forward collision alert, adaptive cruise control, and a suite of driver assistance features come standard, ensuring that this is a car engineered for confidence at any speed, not merely at the extremes of performance. When it comes to matters of exclusivity, the CT5-V Blackwing occupies a curious and rather compelling position, priced from approximately $93,000 and reaching into the low 100,000s when optioned generously. It undercuts the Mercedes-Maybach S-Class, the Bentley Flying Spur, and certainly the Rolls-Royce Ghost, vehicles that begin their pricing conversations well north of $200,000. Even against the BMW M5 and the Mercedes-AMG E65, both formidable performance sedans in their own right, the Blackwing presents a compelling value proposition, particularly given its low production volumes. Cadillac builds only a limited number of these cars each year, lending genuine rarity to ownership. A Blackwing is a far less common sight than any German rival, a distinction that matters greatly to those who value exclusivity as much as capability. Practicality has not been entirely sacrificed in pursuit of passion. The trunk offers 11.9 cubic feet of storage, modest but sufficient for a weekend's luggage, while the rear seats, though clearly secondary to the driving experience up front, offer adequate space for adult passengers on shorter journeys. This is not a car designed primarily for chauffeured comfort, unlike the Maybach or Ghost, both of which prioritize rear seat indulgence above all else. The Blackwing's practicality lies instead in its everyday usability. A car capable of school runs and grocery trips on Monday and blistering back road drives on Sunday without complaint or compromise. Ownership, too, tells its own story. Cadillac's warranty coverage, combined with a growing reputation for build quality that finally rivals its European counterparts, has begun to reshape perceptions of the brand. Maintenance costs remain considerably more accessible than those of a Bentley or Rolls-Royce, whose service intervals can command sums that rival the price of an entire economy car. For those willing to embrace a slightly different kind of prestige, one measured in mechanical purity and driving engagement rather than sheer opulence, the CT5-V Blackwing offers an ownership experience that feels genuinely special, rewarding, and refreshingly free of pretense. In the end, the Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing does not ask to be compared directly to a Rolls-Royce Ghost or a Mercedes-Maybach S-Class. It asks instead to be understood on its own terms. This is a car for those who still believe that luxury can be found in the feel of a manual gearshift, in the growl of a supercharged V8, in the confidence of a chassis that trusts its driver. It's American engineering at its most self-assured, an elegant rebuttal to the notion that true luxury must always whisper rather than roar. Would you choose this over a Rolls-Royce or Mercedes-Maybach? Let us know in the comments below.